It seems like a lot of people are super interested in building a personal brand, starting to create content that is going to resonate with their target audience and that is going to attract more of the ideal customers regarding their offer. And I used to believe that content creation was just like a waste of time, that only people that wanted to be influencers or people that wanted to build huge followings should be focusing on. But I've started to notice that you can actually use content not only to promote your offer, of course, but also to warm up your leads, also to have some sort of assets that you can share with your prospects between calls, etc. That is going to make closing calls easier, and most importantly, is going to, if you build a brand, is going to make everything just easier for you, because people just see like, oh, you're the guy that does this, or you're the guy that knows about funnels, you're the guy that knows about YouTube growth, you're the guy that knows about Facebook groups. You get the point. That was stage one. Like, just understanding the importance of content was stage one. Stage two was actually saying, okay, I admit that content is great, but fuck man, it's so hard to actually grow a personal brand. It's so hard to actually create content. And yeah, guys, I actually started to notice that a lot of people are struggling with building a content creation routine. So I wanted to make this video. Without further ado, let's hop to the computer. And by the way, as you guys know, you can grab the document that you'll be seeing in the screen using the link in the description and on the pinned comment. So let's hop to the computer and let's get started right away. All right, guys, so if you're on a rush, here's the big idea of this video. You need a content marketing routine that allows you to show up in front of your possible clients consistently, and ideally that allows for discoverability. Those are the two most important pieces, and we'll go over the 4 points that you need to understand in just a second. But those, if you actually master those two things, everything is going to be easier for you. So a note here is that I'm not saying that your ideal clients should see you every day. Of course, ideally that would be the case, but it's not necessary. In this case, consistency is way more important than frequency. Of course, ideally you want both, but in case that you can choose only one, it's important to be consistent more than frequent. Let's go one by one with the 4 stages of what is going to make your entire content creation routine something that is feasible. Number 1, you want to focus on only one high leverage platform where you can repurpose content afterwards. And this is what you gotta take into account. You need to think about where your ideal clients are, where you have some sort of leverage to make the work easier for you. Maybe it's in terms of followers, aka you have a lot of followers, so you have leverage there. Or maybe it's you are really skilled with video editing, so you might want to use video instead of Twitter for writing, for example. And number 3, you can later repurpose content with ease. Those are the 3 core elements that are going to make your content marketing strategy effective. And not only effective, it's going to make it easier for you to be omnipresent with your approaches. And there are 3 main platforms that I think that depending on which type of content creator you are, you should be on. The first one, which is of course my favorite, is actually YouTube. The main reason why is because something that YouTube has that only blogs and podcasts have is that it's super easy for people to discover you, number 1. And number 2, that the more time goes by, the more valuable your videos are. And that's because if you optimize your titles and everything to make sure that people, whenever they search for something specific, you appear, it's game over. That's something that literally no other platform has. But that out of the way, let's say that you do a big YouTube video and you give a lot of value on how to solve a specific problem that your target audience has. You can repurpose that YouTube video to podcast, then you can use that podcast and do a blog, and then you can grab that blog and do a LinkedIn, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter post. That would be like level 1. Like, that's honestly where I am at. But if you want it to be even more advanced, you can do everything that I just described. But on top of that, you can grab your YouTube video, make a YouTube short, make a TikTok, and make an Instagram reel out of that video. You can start to notice like how one main big piece of content is easy and it's going to help you actually get better results and repurpose your content so that you can be more omnipresent. Another example, if you are more of a writer, you can create a blog post that you can then repurpose to a LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram post, or you can create a podcast that you can create a blog and then you can repurpose that to LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, or Twitter. You get the point, right? The second step, now that you actually chose one main platform where you're going to focus on and then repurpose content, is that you want to create content in bulk or have dedicated days where you make it a priority to create content. I'll be honest, this is even more important when you're using video. And by the way, you should be using video, but if you're not, this still applies. Listen guys, there are 2 levels of routines when creating a content creation routine. The first one is a micro routine. And what I mean by micro is you want to ask yourself, at what time do you allocate time to create content in your calendar? You can see an example here. This is me right now, so you can see that I allocate one specific slot inside of my calendar today to create content, okay? And that means that on this time frame, I'm micromanaging my time so that I can make sure that I actually get done the work, right? And there is macro routines. And this is more important in my opinion, because this is where you actually start to decide what days of the week you'll commit to prioritize content over your outreach efforts. You take a look at my calendar right now. Well, I have a call soon, but you can see that outside of my calls, I have, for example, on Mondays, a priority to make lead generation and sales. Tuesdays is YouTube and content. Wednesdays is lead generation and sales. Thursdays and Fridays is YouTube and content. Basically, I just want you to understand, like, if you have topics that you divide your days on, you can allocate time specifically to everything. Basically, in my side of the screen is going to be lead generation, outreach, sales, and YouTube and content. Listen, for example, the fact that today is content doesn't mean that I'm not taking sales calls. For example, you can see that I will have like 4 or 5 right now. But what I want you guys to understand is that you want to make sure that you have topics for your day so that everything is easier. That will be number 1. So that will be the macro. The third step, now that you have the different topics of your days, and now that you have a full clarity on what you need to be working on and what platform you want to be using, is understand that you can leverage your content to empower your sales process. A lot of people, and this goes really in hand with what we were talking at the beginning, a lot of people start to neglect content because they say, hey, this is a waste of time, I need to be making lead generation and sales. But in reality, if you understand that you can take the data from your sales calls to actually create content that solves the issues of your clients or your prospects and leverage that in your sales process, you're going to close more and you're going to have better clients in the long run. Your sales team can refer back to your content to improve the closing rate, and naturally, from the objections that you get on sales calls, you can, or the most common pain points that people share with you, you can make content strategy to tackle those issues primarily. And listen, I want to do a shameless promotion for a video that I'm making in the future. If you're liking the topic of how to attract your ideal clients and how to actually create a content creation routine, I'm thinking about launching a video called something around the lines of how to create a content marketing plan or a content creation marketing strategy that is going to help you attract leads. This is more about how to get into the habit and the routines, but I want to do another video that is going to be more specific for a strategy plan and planning type of thing. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and let me know what specific struggles you have so that I can add those topics to the video whenever I record it, okay? Last part, and this is the first stage, is honestly that consistently is more important than frequency. Because you might see that big influencers in your space are posting 4 times per day on all platforms, and they are making way more appealing content that you can ever dream about, but that's really not the goal. And if you actually understand that, that's when everything's going to be way easier for you. Because I want you to remember this, and this is honestly something that changed my life. Viewers reward specificity when it comes to solving problems. For example, if you create a video on how to manage SDRs in tech companies, people are going to prefer to watch that video if they are a tech company and they're managing SDRs, rather than watching a video called how to manage a sales team for your business. Why? Because first of all, if that's how competition and you're a smaller creator, most people are never going to see that piece of content. Why? Because other higher creators are ranking for those searches. But if you actually create something super specific, both in terms of who you're targeting and in terms of the actual struggle, and you also have a business that is niche down, you're going to have amazing results because nobody's going that specific on their content. So if you actually go that extra mile, you are going to notice how easy it is to actually start ranking. Another example, let's say you run a lead generation agency for yoga studios, and you start creating content about how to get clients in your business. Of course, you're going to compete with everybody and everybody's going to see you. But if you start creating content about how to land sales meetings for your yoga studio and increase profitability, imagine what's going to happen if people that are yoga studio owners, they go and start searching that on YouTube or blogs or whatever it might be, and they find your content. It's literally game over because most people aren't going to go that specific about their content, right? So as long as you're niching down effectively, you'll always be able to grab your piece of the market share, right? And make sure that you commit to your schedule, because that's the other part. Most people say, yeah, man, I'm interested in content creation, etc., but they just upload once per month. And listen, if you, for whatever reason, can only create 4 videos or 4 pieces of content per month, make sure that you stick to those 4 pieces of content. The problem is that most people say, yeah, man, I want to be everywhere, so they burn out after 3 days and they stop for the eternity, right? So yeah, those are the 4 stages and the 4 things that I suggest you do in order to create a content creation routine. Some call to actions if you're interested. You can get the document with the link in the pinned comment, and you can just study this at your own pace. You can join our private Facebook group. We'll also be launching an entire free course on building offers, lead generation, and closing. Just so you know, by the way, guys, I'm going to do something different to what other people in the SMMA and agency space are doing, because number one, we're starting to transition our agency more into a sales and appointment setting agency for service providers. So I don't want to just be labeled inside of the marketing agency space. And number two, I also believe that most people are super in love with the idea of starting a marketing agency when there are actually lots of different offers that you guys could leverage that are outside of marketing. And I think that that's something that is lacking. So if you don't want to get out of the loop on that, make sure that you join the Facebook group so that you can get access to some free mini course when it goes live, or simply to get help because it's like a free community. So if you are struggling with anything, I typically just answer your questions. And last but not least, shameless promotion. If you'd like help onboarding a team of performance-based SDRs and salespeople that book calls for you so that you can focus on closing deals and delivery, go ahead and book a call with the link that I will leave in this document. I will also leave the link in the YouTube description, but that being said, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will also leave you guys at the end another video that you can watch where you're going to learn about how to actually start landing more deals and using and leveraging content marketing inside of your sales process. That being said, see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.